Hi there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the FDU Women's Soccer Report here on FDUnights.com. Jon Lauder, along with head coach Rick Stainton. Coach, how are you?
Great, yourself?
Doing just fine. So FDU Women's Soccer coming up with 2 home matches. Their next 2 matches against Delaware State, and then their first NEC Conference game of the year against Mount St. Mary's. But first, Coach, let's talk a little bit about the last 2 games. You had a tie in 2 overtimes against Vermont, then the loss 2-0 against Columbia, both on the road. Just kind of some thoughts on how those 2 games went.
We did. Vermont, we started off really early, scored early. Things looked well until that point after we scored. Then we were back on our heels a bit, and University of Vermont did a very good job of putting a lot of pressure on us. We did a very good job of combating that for as long as we did. Unfortunately, we gave up the late equalizer, but then going into the overtime periods, we really did some very good stuff. We combined well to get in and had some opportunities late to really, get the win out there. Unfortunate that we didn't, but, it was a fair result to say the least.
Now, the game obviously went into 2 overtimes. Talk about how the mindset and maybe the mood has to change going into overtime periods. Obviously, you guys had the lead for a long time in the game. You mentioned giving up the late equalizer. Kind of talk about how maybe emotions were at the end of regulation and going into overtime.
I guess throughout the game, as we were up that 1-0, I could start from that point. We were put under a lot of pressure. To Vermont's credit, they really did a good job of creating their own chances, and in fairness, they probably should have been up at those moments in terms of the score. But we were relentless. We kept going at it. We defended well. We handled the pressure as much as we can. We conceded 14 corner kicks, so that means we were getting in front of their shots and things like that. So at the end of the game, the end of regulation, we knew we still had a chance. We knew we were fortunate to be in that situation, especially giving up as much opportunity as we had to Vermont. So, we were upbeat. We knew that, we had chances early on in the game, that all we had to do was, change a couple things tactically. And we tried to make those adjustments, and, the overtime periods went pretty well for us. We finished with around 2 minutes left in the game. We had a breakaway opportunity where we were 2 versus 0, just pushed the ball kind of wide, and we could have stole the result there.
So talk to me a little bit about the offense. Now, we talked about that, obviously, in the first show as well. The offense has been a little bit up and down this year. What were some of the positives that you saw from this past weekend offensively, maybe some things that the team can work on moving forward?
Well, Columbia game, I'll use that as an example. In the first half, we really had them back on their heels. We created some very good opportunities that were on frame. And for the game, we outshot Columbia. It was unfortunate that, towards the tail end of the second half is when we conceded the 2 goals. And again, in the attack, we're getting up there, but we're not really creating very threatening opportunities. So when we do, we have to try to capitalize on them. But that's been our point of emphasis. We're going into these games, we're being competitive. We're really maximizing what we have in terms of roster size and as much as they have energy-wise as well. We just have to be better with the ball once we get in that attacking end. And we're just giving them back way too much, way too early in our attacks. And that's why teams are getting that transition and getting those opportunities the other way.
So 3-5-1 on the season in 9 matches. The most important part of the season is upcoming with NEC play. But first, you've got this home match against Delaware State coming up on the 29th. Just some thoughts on that opponent and what you guys are preparing for.
Yep. Well, fortunately for us, we only have 1 game next week, so that helps us in our recovery. The second part of it is we face an opponent that's well improved, that's actually scoring a couple goals here and there. The results are much different than they've been in the past. So we're going in with the mentality that, we have to play our best as well as we can, and we're prepping up as we would any other week. So we're not even looking too far ahead. We're looking at Del State and Del State only at this moment.
Now, obviously, a nice thing to be back home for these 2 upcoming matches. Talk to me a little bit about being home for not only this Delaware State game, but the home opener for NEC play, how that maybe can benefit the team.
Yeah, we've been on the road for quite a while, and we although we played well for the most part on the road and got a result here and there, we look forward to coming home. The team really enjoys being home. For us to open up the NEC play, as I mentioned in the last episode, we look at that as a new season. That's our championship season. And for us to be home and in front of our own crowd and, just ready to compete, I think it's a new level of excitement for them. And I think that emotion will help us in our play.
Okay, and final question for you, Coach. Just some keys for a successful upcoming 2 games on this home opener.
Some keys is, we're doing well defending now. Sage is playing incredible in goal, really keeping us in games, making key saves at key times. The defenders are really starting to combine and gel well with each other and work off of each other. So, we're not conceding as many goals as we have had done so early on in the season. We're learning to link up with our midfielders. So now it's the finishing aspect is like, can we put the ball in the goal? Can we find forwards? Can we get the numbers going forward to join the attack and create those threatening opportunities? And when they present themselves, we got to take advantage of it.
All right, so that will do it for the second episode of the FDU Women's Soccer Report. Coach, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Now make sure to come and check out both games coming up on the 29th at 1 p.m. against Delaware State, and then on October 4th against Mount St. Mary's at 7 p.m. And as always, make sure to check out FDUKnights.com for all your most up-to-date athletic information.
Go Knights.